Alright, so let's do the quick TLDR explanation. Basically what you have to do is when that ring forms around your character, in this case Mona, you have to just wait like 2 or 3 seconds, and just before Scaramouche like unleashes his attack, you use Mona's elemental burst, and then you have to hold everything still, let the animation completely finish with Mona, and by doing this you're essentially gonna break it's almost like a frame lock that the game puts onto you, and then you can freely move Mona around while Scaramouche's attack is going to drop on you. Ordinarily you wouldn't be able to do this, but it's because of Mona's elemental burst taking so long to cast, you can get this right. And then obviously in order to survive the attack you have to use Mona's hold E, which will give you elemental burst iframes, and you have to time it very, very precisely onto the attack, and then yeah, you can sort of survive very, very easily. The timing is quite precise and it's a lot later than you might assume. So yeah, that is the short explanation. So what is the full long explanation? Well, there are 2 things you need to understand in Genshin Impact. The first is that there are 2 ways in which you can dodge enemies. So basically there is your elemental burst iframes or invulnerability frames that you can use. So if your character presses their Q ability, then the animation will play and you cannot take any damage. However, you can still be subject to area effects, like for instance having the enemy trigger, let's say, hydro onto you or corrosion or whatever. But these elemental burst iframes can literally dodge anything in the game. The other invulnerability frames that you get in Genshin comes from dashing. So basically if you dash at the appropriate time, you don't take damage from the enemies, and also you can avoid stuff like corrosion or having elements being applied to your character. In other words, you can even dash through the water in Genshin and not get the wet status. So there's like a very, very big difference between elemental burst iframing and then of course like your dash iframes as well. Now the problem with dashing and so on is that there are certain attacks in the game, like with the Primogear Vishat, Raiden's one-shot, Scaramouche's one-shot, and I did try this, that you cannot iframe. So even if you dash at the correct moment, it'll still register and kill you. However, elemental burst iframes are exempt from this, and Mona is the only character so far in Genshin Impact that has elemental burst iframes when you hold her E ability. In other words, her elemental skill. By holding it, Mona sort of like she dashes like backwards, but that dashing or like whatever diving, whatever animation in and of itself actually gives you the iframe. So you can see it on screen, that is an elemental burst iframe on your E ability, and that is the entire secret to doing this. So yeah, being able to know what the correct timings are and knowing that yeah, you can't dash your way out of this, you can't Zhongli shield it, there's nothing else you can do, is sort of the way to survive. Of course, the other way to survive is to wail and get C6 through Tau, or if you've been really, really lucky, use a C6 Kuki Shinobu. But in both of those cases, you still take damage. It's only that the game leaves you with 1 HP, whereas I think in Mona's case, it's a bit more nice because we're not taking any damage. And I think that is, for me, is like a true way of surviving. You don't take any damage, which is like pretty cool. And yeah, so that is sort of how it goes. This is the team I used in the background. It's just sort of a sample team. Also, Nahida is very good for breaking those little turrets very quickly. And then obviously you can then disable Scaramouche and then just zip up to him and take him out. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day. Cheers.